Hello, my name is Rob Amodio. I'm a 1988 graduate of St. Joseph's College. I was fortunate enough to play football for St. Joseph's College from 1984 to 1988. I was also fortunate enough to be a four-year letter winner and a four-year starter. And to give you just a beginning of an idea of how important St. Joseph's College football is to me, got my helmet here from my senior year. I have grass here from the practice field and actually have grass from the game field. But because a certain teammate of mine maybe cut the lock for us to get into Alumni Field to take some of that grass, I'm not putting it on video because I know he'd be upset with me. I have my jersey and my Brian Piccolo award. These are all sacred to me. When I think about my memories of being a St. Joseph's College football player, I think back to I graduated from high school at Cincinnati, Coleraine High School. I was recruited by Spake Kappa, who left before I got there. I was blessed to play for the legendary Coach Jennings for 1 year, and then our tremendous next head coach, who's a close friend of mine still to this day, Coach Bill Reagan became our head coach. But when I think of being a St. Joseph's College football player, I don't think of a lot about the school. I don't think a lot about the games. And we had some great victories, beating the brakes off of Bemidji State my junior year. In September of 1986, they came in a top-ranked team, and our senior class had had enough of any kind of losing, and they really led us throughout that entire season. And that game was kind of the hallmark of who we were that year and who St. Joseph football, or what St. Joseph football really became after that. I think of a great victory my senior year on October 31st, 1987, beating number one University of Dayton in their stadium, which was really important to me because of being from the state of Ohio. But when I think about Puma football and the name of this channel, the Brotherhood, I think about my teammates and my coaches. I think about the memories that we created in Seifert Hall, East Seifert actually, in Alumni Fieldhouse in the locker room, in the Alumni Fieldhouse, the weight room, out on the practice field. My fellow offensive line, Pumas will remember what I'm talking about. Terms like hippity hop to the barbershop, going through the ropes, which as offensive linemen, we don't want to go through ropes. Going through 30, 40 reps in the chutes. Hearing our dear friend, Coach Pia, 20 minutes into practice say, we're starting the drill over. I think about the times in the games, in the brotherhood, the huddle. And being a St. Joe Puma football player is different than I think than anywhere else in the country. You know, teammates all over the country still stay in contact, especially with social media and text and everything today. But I think what's really unique about the Pumas is, since we were a small school, kind of out in the middle of the country, really all we had for 4 years was each other. And so that's what we did. We were with each other all the time. And you go to now, I mean, what other college football program has dozens of guys that get together multiple times a year for golf outings, golf and gamble weekends? How many other football programs have multiple text groups with guys that span decades, guys that didn't even play with each other, that talk just about every day? And I think about, to me, what's special is the bonds with my teammates that have lasted over 40 years. You know I'll leave people out, but I want to give mention to a group of guys who I text with every day, and as our wives can attest to, in the fall on Saturday or Sunday during college or pro football, these texts can probably exceed 200 texts in a day. And I'll kind of move my mind geographically to where those people are. And if I start up north, Coach Pia. Coach Pia probably, other than my dad, has had more impact in my life than any other person. From the day I met him, to where I was terrified of him, still am a little bit, to this day. To going to my Chicago buddies, Timmy Johnson, Dave Ernst, go over to the region, Jeff Sapowski, Teddy Mavity. We've lost Teddy Zielinski. We've lost John Glassmeyer. We've lost Mike Van Santen. We've lost Brian Hill. Go over to Mishawaka, Joe Schrader, up into Grand Rapids, to Pat Leonard. Go down into the Indianapolis area, my roomie Scott Swinford, Scott Hibbard, Denny O'Hara, down to Southern Indiana, Scott Brinkman. I'm in Cincinnati. Up into Detroit, where I won't say the name of the state, my buddy Johnny Ryan. And please don't be offended if I've missed you, because my mind is just so full of relationship and care. What makes the Puma Football Brotherhood special is just that. And I look at outside of my family. I've not known anybody as long as I've known my teammates. And outside of my family, I don't care for anybody as much as I care for my teammates and my coaches. The Puma Football Brotherhood is not just about the teammates. It's about the text messages that we send to one of our former coaches, Randy Bates, who's the defense coordinator at University of Pittsburgh after a big win. It's about the text messages that we send to former coach Brian Rock after Fair State wins not only one but 2 national championships. It's about how none of us could get to Coach Reagan fast enough when we saw him about a year ago at the legendary Coach Jennings' wake, and we couldn't get to Coach Reagan fast enough to shake his hands and to hug him. It's about remembering how many interceptions Joe Helmer had our junior year. St. Joseph's College and the Puma Brotherhood will last forever. As I stated on the opening interview, there's a way, and the only way for us to be able to keep these memories alive forever is through the Puma Football Brotherhood channel. To find this channel on YouTube, just type into the search bar, Puma Football Brotherhood. If you'd like to have the video posted, email it to me, robamodio@gmail.com, robamodio@gmail.com, or simply shoot me a text, 513-320-3471. The last thing I'll tell everybody is every August I have a nightmare and I wake up sweating that I've showed up to campus out of shape and I have to face Coach Pia and I have to do about 20 reps in the chutes. And well, Coach, about 2 days ago I had that nightmare. So that's been since about 1989. And my Puma math isn't very strong, but I know that was a whole lot of years ago. To my Puma Football Brotherhood, let's make these videos. Let's share our memories. Let's have some laughs. You can send as many as you want. I'm sure as things pop in my mind and I've realized I've left people out, just know to my guys who I share the locker room and a huddle with, I love you guys. You guys have made my life rich. You guys have made my life full. And I will carry you guys in my heart forever. Fight, fight, fight for St. Joe. Hold fast, conquer the foe. Be now a sturdy band, so let your courage stand. Onward to victory. Fight, fight, fight. Poom, poom, poom. Pride, 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 St. Joe.